As part of ArcheryTalk's 2017 hunting bow project, we put together video reviews of 6 different flagship hunting bows, which you can go find on our YouTube and Facebook pages. And we're also doing some head-to-head comparisons, and this time we're going to look at the Hoyt Carbon Defiant versus the Bear LS6. Both bows are dressed in QAD Ultra Rests, Trophy Ridge React H5 sights, and they're both sharing a bee stinger counterslide stabilizer. The Hoyt Carbon Defiant has an axle-to-axle length of 31 inches, a brace height of 7 inches, an ASA rated speed of 331 feet per second, and a mass weight of 3.6 pounds. The Bear LS6 has an axle-to-axle length of 32¼ inches, a brace height of 5 inches, and an IBO rated speed of 355 feet per second, and mass weight of 4.2 pounds. Though there's a fairly big speed discrepancy with these bows on paper thanks to the Bear's 5-inch brace height versus the Hoyt's 7-inch brace height, I still decided to run them through the chrono, using a Gold Tip Factory 4-fletched Valkyrie arrow weighing 398 grains. Each bow was set up at 60 pounds of draw weight and what I thought was 29½ inches of draw length. The Bear put up a blistering 309 feet per second average, while the Hoyt averaged 283 feet per second. That's about the difference you'd expect on paper, but when I put the Bear in a draw board, it came out over an inch longer in draw length than the Hoyt. That's got to account for 10 feet a second or so of speed. The Bear still wins the speed contest, but the gap is closed considerably. In my mind, draw cycle here is a clear win for the Carbon Defiant. Not only is it a very easy draw, but it's a smooth pull with just a slight dip into the valley. The back wall is a little bit soft, and I do find this bow likes it better when I'm putting consistent pressure on the back wall before my shot. It's the kind of bow I can shoot all day without worrying about getting fatigued. The LS6 has a predictably stiff draw cycle and a big hump into the valley. The wall itself is quite soft and the valley is very short. With only 70% let off, this bow really feels like it wants to jump on you if you are not pulling firmly against the wall on your shot. Both of these bows offer fairly comfortable grips, but they're vastly different. The LS6 has a nice flat front, though I don't love how the screws stick out on the side. The Defiant has a wider grip than I normally prefer, but after getting used to it, I really came to like how the wooden grip felt in my hand. It's also a really nice looking grip. Despite its shorter 31-inch axle-to-axle length, the Carbon Defiant ended up feeling much more stable than I was expecting. At 20 and 30 yards, the Defiant was grouping like I'd expect of any good quality bow, but the surprise for me was its accuracy at long range. Of the 6 hunting bows I tested for this project, the Defiant was the most consistent for me at 60 yards and beyond. As for the LS6, I was initially a bit worried how I would handle the short 5-inch brace head in this bow, but it really didn't end up being much of an issue at all. The bow groups quite well for me out to about 40 yards. I shot a little better at long range with the Hoyt, but the Bear held its own in the accuracy department. When I'm shooting a lot of bows like I was for this project, I don't have a lot of time to dedicate to tuning any one specific bow. Fortunately, the Carbon Defiant didn't require much effort at all on my part. Once I got the rest into position and maybe added a twist or two to one of the yokes, the bow was shooting bullet holes and grouping with broadheads fairly easily. The Bear LS6 has proven to be a little more finicky as far as tuning goes, at least for me. I've not been able to get very good bullet holes out of this, but I'm thinking an experienced tuner or maybe even a stiffer arrow is the answer. Fit and finish with both of these bows is pretty solid, but it's hard to beat the Carbon Defiant. I really like the textured buckskin finish on this bow. I'm a big fan of the textured buckskin finish on the riser, and the string, cables, and serving are holding up really well. The LS6 is no slouch in fit and finish either. The shadow black riser is really nice looking and the strings and cables are holding up pretty well. There is a little serving separation near my D-loop, but the big problem for me is that my peep sight starts off left and when the bow's at rest, and when it comes to full draw, it twists out to the center. It works, but it's a little bit strange. Realistically, the Hoyt Pro Defiant would make a lot more sense in the comparison against the LS6. As it stands, there's a $550 difference here in price. With that in mind, the Carbon Riser does offer a lot of value in terms of stiffness, weight, and the fact that it doesn't get nearly as cold as aluminum when you're hunting on a chilly morning. Still, I'll have to give the Bear LS6 the nod in the value and price category. Even considering the price gap, I'm gonna have a hard time not choosing the Carbon Defiant in a comparison between these two bows. It excelled in pretty much every category we listed, while the Bear LS6 has a few quirks I can't quite overlook.